Testing 1 2 3. 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 Oh, hi. Hey, what's going on? How's it going? I didn't expect to get chat like this soon. You caught me off guard, man. I didn't expect to get chat this soon. I'm still getting set up. Yeah, I see you. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm gonna be on YouTube more often, I anticipate here, so. I'll probably keep these streams down to like an hour if I don't have a lot of chat. But if I get like a lot of my subscribers come in and I get a lot of chat, or it's a lot of people that had been veterans to this channel come on, then I might keep it going longer under those circumstances. Do I play Call of Duty Mobile? Oh no, I haven't checked that out yet. I'll check it out. Yeah, I'm just doing light gaming here. I'm actually like studying, so I'm gonna be like studying. I need to really get started. Oh man, I have a lot of delays in getting started actually this week. I've been experiencing so many delays this week trying to get started and whatnot. Oh, I forgot with the mobile stream I need to indicate that the desktop stream has better quality. Oh, okay, that's nice to hear. Yeah, the deal with Roller Coaster Tycoon is I like to just keep it up as like ambience. It's showing something. This is a game, and I'm showing something here, and this game is mostly idle. This game is mostly idle except for the roller coasters that are being built. So after I get some stuff done, after I get focused, after I get into the groove, I will add some new stuff here. Not really sure which one I should start out with, maybe the carousel. I'm basically using this as ambience, just something to look at, but I'll also be periodically adding stuff. I need a new park where I actually gonna have more of the roller coasters eventually in a new park. Have you listened to any new album? Not lately. Yeah, when you get started. Yeah, I'm doing summer semester. Graduate studies, it takes a lot of my time. Summer semester for the first time, so it's like the busiest summer I've ever had. Oh, cool. I don't. Spell King says, I don't think I will ever get over Death Claps because I love their music so much. Oh, they have some new albums out, don't they? I need to listen to that, yeah. Just give me ideas for some stuff to listen to because lately I just been like... Yeah, I've been listening to the same old stuff lately. Yeah, since it's so late, I got a really late start. More than likely, it's just gonna only be an hour. This stream will only be an hour because I got such a late start. That's usually typical of me. I usually do get a late start because I've been nocturnal. I went to bed at like 7:30 in the morning last night, and the night before that, and the night before that, and the night before that. Okay. Yeah, I know you said hi earlier. Was that a typo? You pasted in the same comment twice, maybe? I don't know. So the way this Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 is gonna work is I'm gonna try to change the scenery like every 15 to 30 minutes. It just depends on how busy I am. Ideally, I would change it around like every 15 minutes. Oh, cool. Yeah, I haven't even seen the movie. Yeah, I hadn't even seen the movie. I remember it just went off the air. It just went off the air at one point, I remember, when I was younger. Like, I watched it when I was younger, but then it just went off the air. Like, the show got canceled, and then I thought it was done. I thought they were done when they got canceled, but they, came back, and then I was unaware that they came back. I was completely unaware that they even came back. Oh. They have 4 albums out. Alright. I'll start with the newest one. Yeah, if you haven't noticed, like, what I'm trying to do, like, I'm very, like, inspired by Deathbox and Metalocalyspe. I'm very inspired by that. I grew up with that. That was, like, my childhood, man. So, I was very inspired by that, and, like, I thought, you know, they can do cartoon characters, gorillas. If they can be cartoon characters, I can do it too. If they can do it, I can do it. And they can have success being cartoon characters, so can I, you know, so I thought. Oh, cool. Yeah, they started out with the TV show. They had to start somewhere. But I think they had a big budget. Yeah, they had a huge budget. They had a lot of funding. They could work with professional producers. They could get a band and everything. I'm the lower budget side, so for me, I tend to struggle a little bit more, but I just do the best that I can with whatever money I generated in the past. I just do the best I can. No, I did not. I used to go to music stores a lot in Los Angeles. I used to go to Amoeba. I used to go to, yeah, Amoeba wasn't the same after they moved to a different location. They weren't the same. And a few other music stores, I forgot. It was so long ago, I just don't remember. But I never saw their CD out there being pushed in the record stores. I think that was part of the reason why. Yeah, and feel free to let me know to change the scenery in Roller Coaster Tycoon if you want to see the run stream. Well, you're on the mobile stream, so you're not really seeing it because you're on the mobile stream. Let me see if I can make an adjustment here for the mobile stream. Yeah, you're on the mobile stream, so I need to push this over. There we go. Okay, because you're on the mobile stream. Most people are going to be on the mobile stream anyways. Well, for right now, it's most people on the mobile stream, but where am I going to go? Because I need to be in this scene somewhere. I need to be visible. You know what? I could probably... Yeah, it's gonna look funky, but I can duplicate this window on my desktop stream. I could duplicate that window. It looks a little funky, but I can duplicate the window on my desktop stream. Yeah, that's all I can do. At least on the mobile stream, things actually look a little more inviting now. Now you can see the carnival ride. You can actually see the merry-go-round now. Whereas before, you wouldn't be able to see the merry-go-round on mobile. Yeah, Roller Coaster Tycoon has a lot of flexibility, so I think I can mess with the display and whatnot. I think that I can change it around, because it has a lot of flexibility like that. Skull King says, I mean, it's pretty expensive. Now, in days, the first album can go for like $60 over $100. Wow. Wow, that's a lot. That's crazy. Yeah, thanks for the music suggestion. I was really just like at a point where I was just listening to the same stuff over and over again, and I had been meaning to find something different to listen to for a while, because I wouldn't have thought of that on my own. And everybody keeps calling me Nathan Explosion. See, I definitely should have thought of that earlier. I do. I just been a little bit less active with, like, well, let me go back to, okay. It started with burnout. It started with being busy and burnout, but I'm still making music. I'm just not, I hadn't been posting it because when I post it, I need to have the edits finalized and everything. I need to have it somewhat finalized. And I had been making music behind the scenes. The last couple of times that I was making music, I didn't really, yeah. That was the only thing I focused on, was making music. The last couple times I did do it, I did a lot of stuff for the upcoming album in like 1 week, like a couple of weeks, and then 1 week block I just dedicated only to that. But I need to do vocals for my demos. I have like 4 new demos, like anywhere from 3 to 4 new demos, and I need to do vocals for them. And because I always want to start the stream, and I always want to start streaming, or, you know, I'm doing a summer semester, and it's just always something coming up. Because I realize if I'm going to do vocals, I need to do it before I stream while I still have peak energy. I can't be doing metal vocals when I'm like super tired when I'm about to fall asleep, because I tried that and it's just, I don't get as much, like, it's not as, you get where I'm getting at. Like, it's just doesn't work when I'm like really tired. Like, of course I can't do metal vocals when I'm super tired like that. So I have to do it earlier in the night. I'm probably gonna have to do it before I stream. But then again, I have other priorities. I have other things that are going on right now, but I'm hoping soon. Now, with my newer demos, I hesitated a little bit because I also, another component of this is that I had pulled my music back a bit because I realized that there was a lot of marks that I'm missing with my music in regards to what modern metal is, like the modern standards for metal these days. I realized that my music is lacking what is called cinematic depth. Cinematic depth. So bands like Rammstein, you might hear like a wall of sound and whatnot. Other bands like Gojira have a lot going on. In particular, there's this concept of cinematic depth. So we're talking in metal nowadays, they might add a cinematic boom sound, like the boom that you would hear in movies, like the boom that you would hear in movie trailers. Like there's a lot of elements from movie trailers in metal nowadays. In modern metal, there's a lot of those elements to make it sound more dynamic. And I realized that my music actually is missing a lot of those marks, so I'm like attempting to see if I can go back and update my songs that I had already released and my newer songs. I'm seeing if I can go back and attempt to update it. However, there's a learning curve for this type of editing, for this type of production. There's a learning curve. And I'm also talking about things like cinematic sound pads. I'm talking about things like, I didn't know what the heck a sound pad was, but I realized something recently. The more music I've listened to, I was like, wait a minute. Because I was trying to make it, my intent was to make it as modern as I possibly could with what limited sources I had, and just being a dude producing music out of his room. But I figured out what it was that my music needed more of, and so I don't know if I can add the cinematic depth to my music or not. The cinematic depth, the cinematic edits, the modern standards of metal. I don't know if I can modernize my stuff because it's a learning curve. It's uncertain, so we'll have to see. I'm also thinking about changing my album cover to include a cassette tape in the corner. Like, it's gonna be like a table layout, and you're gonna have like I'm gonna have my artwork and a cassette tape, and it's gonna be like a table setup, but like this cassette tape would be symbolic of the more raw and gritty sound, and like a little bit, you know, unproduced, kind of raw, kind of gritty, kind of unproduced. But like black metal is a lot more unproduced, so I don't think it's quite there yet. But then again, your bands like, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but Demu Boger, like that stuff seems like it's very produced and it's orchestral. Oh yeah, that's right. I was gonna see if I could add an electronic orchestra, like really modernize it, like take it to the next level. So I have been pulling back my music, and I have been holding off because I want to see if I can do these edits, because if I can bring it up to modern standards, it can make a huge difference in the sound, and like it'll be more accessible. But I don't know, because it has a steep learning curve, all of it. The learning curve is pretty steep. Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. What is the genre of the music you make? So, I had normally described it as metal, but, yeah, I mean, it is metal. Okay, I'm gonna rewind there. It is metal. My music is metal. But, yes, there are some specific subgenres that it comes down to. And I've always kind of struggled to categorize my music outside of just calling it general metal. But my stuff more aligns with this genre called death and roll, so it's a mix of rock and roll and death metal. I felt like that's where my stuff aligns the closest. And I mean, gothic metal, potentially gothic metal, and the elements of black metal that are there are like nature, like a lot of black metal will talk about nature or be about the winter, and I have those elements. And I mean, with what I have with my character, there's some black metal elements, there's some elements from bands like Immortal with my character. On a subconscious level, I was inspired by that when I made my character, and my character's always been about the winter, so those elements are there, but I wouldn't necessarily call my stuff black metal. I wouldn't necessarily call it black metal saying I fit in that exactly, but I really should have it analyzed more from an outside perspective if somebody else would be willing to come in and analyze it. That's a genre expert, but I've been analyzing with ChatGPT. Actually, I've been doing a lot of the analyzing with ChatGPT, but ChatGPT can't like listen to it. But any of the AI tools that can listen to my music and kind of help me figure out like if I were on a playlist like what bands would I be mixed in with and whatnot. I like death metal, yeah, awesome. Yeah, my stuff most aligns with death metal, so the guttural vocals are there. I'm doing the guttural vocals. I updated my tags on my music and I put death and roll, sometimes I put black and roll, because there's also black and roll, which is a mixture of black metal and rock and roll. And the band that usually fits within this category very well is Venom. Venom usually fits in that category pretty well. So bands that sound kind of like Venom is like black and roll, and death and roll. Yeah, Carcass was really foundational to death and roll, so more along the lines of Carcass, but I don't exactly sound like Carcass either. Exactly, except for like I just have the same guttural vocals. That's all. I just have guttural vocals, you know. Do you ever think you could do a tour? Yeah, I know you said hi already. Is that a glitch? I keep seeing you say the same comment. Is that like a glitch? Do I ever think I could do a tour? Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a complex question because I feel like if I had walked away from everything in my life and dedicated my whole life to music, and I mean, first and foremost, to do a tour, my stuff would have to have a lot of visibility. Like, I feel like my music would have to be sort of viral in a sense to, not necessarily actual viral, but I actually have enough visibility to do live shows that would start out, I would have to start out with general live shows at venues in Los Angeles. I live in Los Angeles, so I would have to start out with live shows and venues in Los Angeles, and then you do the big tour after that. But the problem is that, like I'm doing a character here, and I don't have a backing band. That's my first problem. My second problem is, even the vocals, like there was a lot of deep editing that goes into my music. Even with the vocals, there's so much editing that goes into it that I cannot think of any way right now to translate that to a live show. There is just no way to translate that into a live show right now with the resources I have, because yeah, I don't have the resources, simply put. I don't have the backing band. I don't have the proper, yeah, what it really comes down to is I just don't have a band. That's really, first and foremost, what the issue is. So, there's a lot that would have to happen. It's never off the table, but not anytime soon. Never completely off the table. I'm never gonna say never on that. Yeah, but Yeah, because when you do like a live show, it's very involved. Just to even do a live show is very involved. You have to do rehearsals. You have to do, right now with the way my life is and what's going on in my life, the fact that I have, yeah, it's not like my career. It's not my entire career. I didn't put my entire career into just music. So, but what would be the catalyst is if the stuff started getting a lot of visibility. That would be the catalyst, or I just end up making the right connections and getting into a band and getting into that kind of situation. Or I have the time, I have the connections, those would be the catalysts. And it would be those three things: time, connections, and visibility. I'm far from that. Oh. Yeah, it can be kind of tough. The only time I've been in a band, I have been in a band when I was in music school, in my younger years, and it was just a temporary thing. It was very temporary, and it was like a cover band, so it was very temporary, and it was just for me to learn the skill set of making music. That was pretty much it. I've had a few people like tell me they would watch me perform live or ask me about that. I've had a few people ask me about that. So, right now I'm still working on my bigger album release, so that definitely has to happen first before any of that is going to, if any of that were to happen. And that's a big if, because I am so far from that. I am miles and miles and miles from that. You'd rather get the job as album cover artist. Yeah, because bands can be, that's another thing is bands, there can be a lot of drama. Bands, there can be a lot of drama, there can be infighting and whatnot, there can be, and you also have to be disciplined to practice, and you have to sound good, and you have to not have stage fright. There's all these factors that go into it. Well, bad news about album cover artists is a lot of bands are using AI. That's the bad news, but there probably is still bands out there that will go to an actual artist. It just depends. Okay, I've had this scene for a little while. It's time I change it. Yeah, the band's gotta have group therapy. It's like, a lot of people say that it's like being married to each other, it's like you're in a marriage. It's kind of like being in a band can be like a marriage. Yeah. Oh, I'm eating. Hold on, I gotta get some water. Yeah, the instruments can certainly be a learning curve for sure. Like guitar was a big learning curve for me actually. But you start young. If you start young, it becomes easier. If you start young, if you're not starting young, it's a lot harder. I think it's a lot more difficult if you don't start young. I think in most cases, but yeah, really, what made it possible for me or what helped me with my learning curve is like the more music theory that you know, like the more theory you get, the more theory you get, the more that it will help you like understand how to play the instrument. It'll help you understand like what notes to hit on the fretboard. And getting your fingers used to making chords is where you start. But that happens pretty quickly. I in my experience, that happened pretty quickly. But what really what matters a lot is one thing to know how to make the chord formations and to get your fingers used to making a power chord and whatnot, and then getting your fingers to go around on the fretboard to do a solo and whatnot. But the music theory is like the glue that like it's a combination of like yeah, I find your fingers you can break your I broke my fingers in quite quickly to the guitar when I was younger. Like that happened pretty quickly. What was slowing me down, what the learning curve was music theory. I think music theory was the true learning curve, really. And then just getting a lot of practice. You have to be patient. Yeah. The people who taught me how to play guitar when I was younger, it's growing pains. The blisters are growing pains. What I did is I used this thing called liquid bandage. I would use liquid bandage a lot. You give your fingers a break where like you let that blister heal and then play again. And then play on a regular basis and you start to form a callus on your skin. Your skin actually forms a toughened layer to prevent getting blisters. The blisters will go away. You will stop getting them once you get a callus. You have to build up a callus. Yeah, usually a lot of people will go for bass. Well, you could do that. You could try that. I mean, Nothing wrong with that. For me, I wanted to always go for a guitar because it's like one of the core instruments of the band. Like, it's so important. And the guitar players often get a lot of recognition too. More than the bass players usually. Yeah, the bass players are kind of underrated. They don't get enough recognition. It's always the drummer and the guitarist and the vocalist. Like, bass players like are kind of underrated, man. But yeah, one of the people who inspired me growing up is a bass player, Nikki Sixx. So I know firsthand like how underrated like bass players are. But I still chose guitar because I wanted to have a lot of creative control. I wanted to have a lot of creative control over my stuff. I actually don't even... Yeah, one of the problems I have is like I don't even bother to put bass in my stuff. If I attempt to play bass, it'll just make it end up sounding... It just won't sound good, it'll sound muddy. Bass is also another technical aspect of music too, because you gotta get the right tone. With bass, you also have to get the right tone. And it's more to get into. That would make sense if I had a band, but I don't. And if the song sounds fine without bass, I'm just like, oh well. If it sounds fine without bass, I'm just like, okay. To me, it usually sounds fine, but like other people who are more particular about music may notice that. And it is what it is, to an extent. But I'll have to see what I do in the future with my stuff. Murder face. I can do vocals constantly. Sometimes it's good. Others I do have a whole prose. What does that word mean? Well, it can be hard to like... Well, the death metal vocals, like the guttural vocals in particular, I just always try to like speak with a growl. Like first it started with speaking with a growl and then I got the hang of it. You just like think of Cookie Monster. For me, like I just had to think of Cookie Monster and like it works for me. What is YH? Is that yeah, huh? Yeah, that's a great starting point. Yeah, that's probably where I definitely thought of Metalocalyspe a lot. Like, in the making of my character and my music. Oh, cool. Oh yeah, that is one. That is difficult. Nathan Explosion. I mean, I think that's part of the reason why my character looks like the way he does. Oh yeah, Toki's hilarious. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, he's funny character, and he's pretty cool. He's really chill. Yeah, there's a lot of good qualities about Toki. I was talking about my music genres earlier because you asked me about it. Part of my genres are, I definitely fit somewhere within atmospheric metal. Because, like, a lot of my intros will be more atmospheric and a lot of my songs really focus on atmosphere. Like, for example, in The Monster, I have all this stuff going on with atmosphere, and then my oldest song that I have under My Name Ain't Foot Beast, This Isn't the Way It Should Be, has, like, sort of a, like, it's an atmospheric intro, so atmospheric metal, we fit somewhere among the lines of that as well. Skull King says, I like a lot of the characters, but from the villains, I would say the male mass assassin of the male masked assassin or the half man. Oh, it's been so long I don't even remember those characters. It's been so long. Oh yeah, and speaking of my music, another update I have is, the stuff that I currently have, like my current lineup, like I mentioned, there is a learning curve for the deeper type of producing that more lines of modern sounds, like the cinematic depth that I was talking about, the cinematic editing, and like, for instance, adding an orchestra. There can be some learning curve. All the orchestra thing is the base learning curve, the electronic orchestra. That's a huge learning curve. So what I'm thinking is, like, if I release my current lineup the way it is with my old school editing style, I realize my old school, let me back up. My way of producing my stuff and editing is very old school. Like, my metal can be kind of old school in the way I produce it and the way I do it, because I'm just focusing on the basics, like drums, guitar, vocals. I don't even have bass in my stuff. It's very old school and very, like, I don't want to say toned down because that doesn't sound metal, but it kind of is, like, versus what you would get from a typical band these days in some ways. So what my point is that if I release my current lineup, I think I'm just going to release my current lineup as demos if I'm not doing that deeper cinematic editing I'm talking about, like adding things like the sound pad, the cinematic booms that you hear in movies or in trailers. If I'm not doing that type of stuff, there's other ones too, like I think there's like a swoosh sound, or like there's different types of words to describe these sounds that they use in movie trailers and movies. It's a completely new thing. But also, I've been looking into how a lot of degen is made because I'm into degen. So bands like Meshuggah, I was if I didn't say that word, forgive me, but the degen bands. I grew up with that, and I grew up, like, being introduced to that by my metalhead guitar instructors and whatnot. Yeah, I've been looking into that and how that's produced, and there's also an electronic element involved. There is an element involved, like, to get those really good chugs, the guitar has to sound kind of electronic. There has to be a layer where the guitar sounds totally electronic to get those really, really good chugs sometimes. And yeah, if I'm not doing that deeper type of editing, I'm just gonna release my current lineup as demos if I'm doing old school editing. If I continue to be old school, I can just release them as demos, and then that gives me the wiggle room to improve them in the future, because I probably am not going to be able to improve that much, like, overnight, especially when there's such a learning curve, and I'm doing everything. I'm doing literally everything with my music. I don't have a professional producer, and for starters, I don't even have a band. So I'm doing everything, but especially with the cinematic type of editing that I'm talking about, producing modern metal. You can watch videos on modern metal production. It's crazy. I saw a video of someone on TikTok where they had like multiple virtual amplifiers and virtual cables. We're talking like hundreds of virtual effects. We're talking effect chains where you have maybe like 100 or more guitar tones that you download from companies that make them on the internet, and some of them cost $100. I already have one that costed $100. That's enough. I don't have the budget to do like these elaborate effect chains where you have like multiple tones from a company like Neural DSP, and you have like these huge chains. Yeah, the effect chains, I'm out. Like, I've officially checked out. When it comes to the large effect chains that modern metal can have, I've kind of like checked out at that point. So that's why I realized my editing, the way I put my music together, it's very old school. That's when I realized I'm like, damn, I'm old school. I'm like very old school, like, damn. But if I put demo next to my tracks, that gives me the wiggle room to like improve it. I could say demo 2 or demo 1. For a lot of my tracks, it would be demo 2. If I do that, I have that room to innovate and improve once I get past this learning curve. I don't use a pedal right now in particular. I do have specific effect pedals, yes. But I used those in the past when I was analog because, excuse me, I had some air come up my throat because of me eating food, like I had the urge to burp because I'm eating. Let me get back on track here. When I was analog as a guitarist, I did use a real guitar pedal, but I'm all digital now. These days, I only use Neural DSP Gorgira. That's the only thing I use. So Neural DSP has these virtual guitar pedals. They're like, it's like a guitar pedal, but they're virtual. And there's this company called Neural DSP, and they make all of the effects that are the industry standard. And I'm using their Gorgira pack of effects, and they claim that all these bands actually use these effects on their albums. I'm like, okay, great, fine. So that's like $100 or something like that. I remember getting it on Black Friday a few years ago. I think I got it in like 2020 or 2021. It was a long time ago. Not quite ancient history, but it was a while ago that I got this. And that's what I have been using. And that's what I primarily use. And it's digital. But back when I was analog, oh yeah, my old stuff, that the demos, my first demos were all analog. I was using a mini guitar amp that you can just plug in headphones into, but I would plug it into a speaker. I was using a compact guitar amp. It was like a mini amp that I bought off of Amazon, and I would use that to practice, but the sound was alright. The fish represents God. I'm aware of a fish that represents God. The goat represents. But I'm aware that a fish, the goat, represents Satan. It's like the most random comments ever. It's a little random. How long are you gonna be streaming tonight? Yeah, I'm going on an hour right now. It's gonna be like an hour soon. But I have someone else in my chat right now. So I might go for a little bit longer. I may go for a little bit longer, it depends. Oh yeah, good to see you too. I don't know, man. I don't know, because I was originally planning on just doing the hour, but I have people, I have you in my chat right now, Skulking, and Adamus had just arrived, so I shouldn't cut it off yet. Maybe like 10 or 15 more minutes, I'll have to see. Yeah, I know. Well, I have a lot to talk about because I haven't been live on YouTube in a long time. I haven't been doing streams like this on a regular basis for a long time. So I've taken a long break. I was on burnout. So I have a lot to talk about. Yeah, I know you're from TikTok, I know. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I say take a break. It's good to do that sometimes. Oh my god, I'm so behind in my course right now. I am like weeks behind. I'm really behind. Like by weeks. Like, it is, should be able to pass now. But I am very far behind. Oof. Right. Yeah, sometimes it's just good to be a casual observer on social media because it can be, you know, oh. You can get burnt out. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, you get burnt out, you know. Only do it for fun because you get burnt out. Don't post because you feel like you're obligated, you know, or that you're trying to like go viral or something. Like, it's best to just like post for fun, post when you're inspired, because if you're trying to just push yourself too much, or you're feeling, if it's feeling more like a chore, just you know, take a break because you get burnt out. But this whole year I've gotten burnt out because it's just this year is a handful. So I've just had burnout this whole year. Oh, cool. Yeah, I was playing the same track over and over again. I used to go on here and have my music in the background, but it was just really repetitive over and over and over. I also, I have some gabber style electronic music as well. I've tried to mix it up a little bit. I'm very open-minded with my music as far as like, you know, I'm not like just, I'm not like one of these metalheads where it has to all just be metal. I'm kind of open. I kind of like open-minded to just whatever. I like multiple things. I like more than just metal. That's my point. I like a little more than just metal and rock sometimes. But this is like industrial style. I think this is like industrial style electronic. I'm not sure. Well, I haven't even listened to my own backing track in a while. Well, this new one that I put together anyway. Yeah, oh man. Oh. Actually, I think the time's going by very slowly for me. Quite the opposite. It feels almost like ancient. It feels like ancient history to me. Feels like it's then. It feels like that was 5 years ago to me, or something. It doesn't feel like yesterday. That's for sure. Yeah, my plan is in the future maybe I'll update my music track with my own music that I play on here, but like I'll wait until I have the more ideally I'd wait until I have the more polished versions of my music. Which could be one of two things, the final version or demo number 2. I don't know. I don't know at this point if I'm gonna release my new stuff as demos, like it's just gonna be like the second demo, or is it gonna be the final polished version? I don't know. Because I know that there's like something I could do to improve it, and I got some kind of learning curve and I have to like work on that. That could take forever, that could take years, so I'll just release it as another demo so I have the flexibility in the meantime, and if it does well then I can take that label off maybe if the song does well, I don't know. Try and figure it out. Bro, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, right now I've just been putting it out on YouTube because the stuff is demo quality. It's a little bit unpolished right now. And that's what's been preventing me from going on Spotify. Because I know I'm aware that it can be improved. So because I'm aware it can be improved, like when you release something on Spotify, like that's more so moving into the territory where it needs to be a finalized version, and like I want to be sure that I'm releasing the best version of whatever I got when it comes to Spotify, and that I fully fleshed out all the ideas, I fully fleshed it out. I'm no longer sitting there like saying I gotta make this or that adjustment. the point where, if I'm at a point where I'm no longer feeling unsure. I've always intended to get on Spotify at some point. For real. I'm thinking if I release my stuff as demo number 2, like I'm releasing, if I release the current lineup as demos, I'm thinking that, yeah, I'm thinking that maybe I could, if it's demo number 2, I could release that on, Spotify potentially if I just determine the learning curve is going to be too steep to improve my stuff or it's going to take too long. When those two scenarios, then I may go ahead and start branching off on Spotify. I want to make sure the marketing is finalized, like the album cover design, that I'm sure, okay, this is going to be my look, this is going to be my branding, and go with it. Like, I need to be 100% sure that I'm not going to be, like, going back and fixing things. Well, once I release an album cover on Spotify, I can't take that back easily. I don't think there's any undo button or revisions that I could make once I release the stuff on Spotify. It's kind of final, I think, at that point. So, that's why it's been so long. And that's why, like, here we are in 2025. People have been asking me about Spotify since, 2020 or 2021, and here we are in 2025. I still haven't gotten there. And that's okay, you know? Because on YouTube's a lot different. I can delete a video if I need to. I can go back and I can change the labeling on something or whatnot. I think Spotify can be described like this. It's like a permanent tattoo. Like, when you upload this stuff on Spotify, it's a tattoo and it's permanent. So, once I've established that whatever I have is permanent, more so. But, like I said, releasing my newer stuff as demos allows me more flexibility. So, I mean, in some ways, like, I technically could, release my newer stuff on Spotify under the guise of, like, demos. I can release demos on Spotify. I can. I just want to make sure that I fully thought out that decision and that I've decided that's what's best for the short term. Because I know one of the issues that I have right now is, like, yeah, just being on YouTube, like, it's a lot less discoverable. Like, growth is the issue. Like, I would get more growth on Spotify. But Spotify is like the big league. It's more like the big league. So I want to make sure that my stuff is more fit for the big league. I want to make sure that music that I have is actually going to be fit for the big league. And if the learning curve to do deeper edits on my stuff, if it's not going to be that long, if it's not going to take that long to learn cinematic edits, to organize that into maybe utilize the orchestra is more so for the newer stuff, not the older stuff. Like, I'm thinking of putting an electronic orchestra in some of my newer songs. The first demo version or the alternate version won't have it, but like the second version, there's going to be another version of my newer demos that's going to have an orchestra potentially. That's the biggest learning curve, is learning how to use that electronic orchestra and then figuring out the arrangement for that and the composition. I think that's the steepest learning curve. I'm not doing like huge plug-in chains. I'm not gonna spend, I do not have $1,000 to drop on all kinds of different like virtual effect pedals. No, I don't have that budget. Whenever I finalize, it has to be realistic for my budget. Skull King says, I was thinking of making metal, but not just for humans, for all other things living. I took a little inspiration from our dust clocks, maybe plant fish and other creatures. I do know sharks like metal music. Maybe one day I could make a full album just for them. That's a funny idea, man. Yeah, that's unique. That's a unique idea. Well, I think on an evolutionary standpoint, other animals like sharks, the reason why we, I don't know, like as humans, all I know is usually like with animals, music that is loud and booming, it usually is gonna scare them. Like there was this whole issue with the Shamu show at SeaWorld, and they were playing some heavy metal music at the Shamu show in SeaWorld, and there was a whole issue with that. Like, it's literally unpleasant for the animal, like it literally tortures them. So, but if it's not in real life, we're talking about maybe like a show or a concept, but I'm just saying in real life, like, the biology of those animals are the way they're evolved from an evolutionary standpoint. Like, metal is a product of, like, us being humans. Like, it's kind of like metal is uniquely human. Music has our music that most of the music, house music, unless we're talking about dolphin songs, has evolved out of being human and being like the intelligent species. The only other thing that's competing with us as a species is AI is getting rapidly more intelligent. AI can make music, but I know it's a bunch of, it's hard to, I wouldn't say like AI is alive or anything like that. I'm not trying to say that, but like, at some point, that could get so intelligent where it crosses that boundary. But I don't believe we're there yet. Oh, you mean like vibrations, like, okay. Oh, no. Yeah, that makes more sense. That makes sense. You mean like the experience? Like them having the same experience. I have food in my mouth at the moment. Yeah, you're getting at like you want to see them have the experience that metal gives humans, like it's more of an experience perspective. Is that what you're trying to get at? Like the way metal, like us metalheads, like the way it makes us feel, like to have like that kind of thing. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I'll keep it going because you're here. And let's keep it going for as long as... I'll keep it going for a little bit longer because you're here. If I have somebody in my chat who's talking to me and it's like 1 in the morning, why, you know, there's no rush to cut it off immediately, but at some point I'm gonna get sleepy. At some point, I'm going to get sleepy at some point. Yeah. My focus is terrible tonight in regards to my homework. What? Oh my god. That's kind of dark. With their sharks, I mean, they're like a predator species, so I guess it kind of makes sense. Yeah, they do. They're hunters. I know. Well, yeah, a lot of animals are. Right. You know what, man? I think I'm actually going to conclude this at 1 o'clock my time, so in about like 5-ish minutes. I got homework and I'm having a little bit of a difficult time focusing right now, so it was nice catching up with you, man. Yeah, it's one where I'm at. Yeah, it's only 1 o'clock in like 4 minutes. Alright, yeah, I think I'm gonna end it here. Alright. Alright, good night. Right, yeah, you too.